Well, hey, folks, back again for another guitar lesson. A little bit of blues time, or finger picking blues. Um, let's see. Pretty much we're live. We're going on live, and I think that's where we're at right now. If you're out there, you can. I can see your comments if you want to leave comments or just say hi and howdy. It'd be nice to hear from some of my friends and fans out there. Today, we're going to be doing a lesson on the hesitation blues. The first time I ever heard this was actually listening to Jorma Kaukonen play this, I think on the first Hot Tuna album. And I was pretty, like a lot of other people, I was pretty impressed. I didn't know what the hell he was doing, but I just enjoyed listening to it. And later on, I started learning how to do a lot of the finger picking stuff. And basically, that's brought me to where I am now. And anyway, for the people that you can, if you look at the above link right above my head there, you can download the tab for today's lesson. There's a link right there. And the other link there is a donation box. And I'm giving away things for your donation. If you could donate anything, that would be great. It really would help me out because essentially right now I'm out of work as a musician. It's a full-time thing. I don't do it as a hobby. This has been a full-time thing for a long, long time. At any rate, what I'm going to be giving away is I just completed a in-depth and expanded lesson on Mance Lipscomb's song Sugar Babe. There's all kinds of, I'll teach you the song Sugar Babe, and this is in downloadable videos as well as tab and notation. I'll teach you the song, how to play Sugar Babe. I'll teach you some of the things that Mance did, but then we're really going to expand on it, and I'm going to show you a lot of other things that you can do with that song. So a $15 donation, I'm going to send you that, and I'll probably send you a surprise other lesson included with that. That's going to be a surprise, okay? And if you want to, you can donate. Now, I also sell lessons on my guitar lesson website, and that's the same place where you can pick up the tab. You'll see that. And usually the lessons go for about $30. And they usually have 5 or 6 songs plus ways of being creative with them. And there's just a bunch of other things. But what I usually do is to sell them for $30. But here, if you donate $25, you'll not only get the Sugar Babe lesson plus a surprise, you'll also get your choice of any 2 lessons that I have on my website. All right, so that's like well over a it's like over a $30 savings, and I only offer that through this Facebook Live guitar lesson. And tonight I'll be doing a concert at 7 p.m. Hey, John, how are you? Good to see you, John. John's coming in from Pennsylvania there. It's got to be a nice day like it is here. So, anyway, you can download the tab. What I'm going to do in the meantime, just before I do the lesson, I'm just going to play a little bit with Hesitation Blues, and it starts out basically the way most people play it, but then I just expand on it and I play a lot of other things with it. So I'm just going to get right into it, and then I'm going to start teaching you. what I was doing in there was I was just doing a whole bunch of various different things in there, and none of it's really memorized. A lot of it's just ideas that I've accumulated over the years, and a lot of that is just totally improvised. So what I want to do is I want to start turning you on to the basic parts of the Hesitation Blues song, and as well as we can do a lot of the variations. And again, that's in the tablature. If you look right above here, you're getting a lot of you'll get a lot of various different variations on it. Jeffrey, how you doing from Toronto? Getting a lot of screen hesitation blues. I have no idea. Getting a lot screen hesitation blues in capitals, screen. I have no idea what that means, John. But anyway, maybe you could explain that one. I'm lost. So anyway, let's take a look now. The first page I'm going to be working on with the tablature, the very first page I'm going to be working on is with the Hesitation Blues. It's the basic chord progression. So we're going to be taking a look at that. I'm going to play this straight through, and then we're going to go over it measure by measure. That just keeps repeating over and over again. Getting a lot screen hesitation blues. Okay. Thomas, how are you doing? Thomas is in Ohio. Good to see you, and good to see you made it. A lot of interruptions and delays. I don't know what's going on with that. We have a good connection here. Who knows what Facebook is doing? I have no idea. I wish I did. Let's hope it gets a little smoother as we go. So we have this basic progression. It starts out with the very first measure, and it's basically, I'm going back and forth right now with that A minor chord between my 5th and my 4th string with my bass. So I have this, and when I go to the E, I go to the 6th and the 4th string. So that's what my thumb is doing for the first two measures. That very first measure, let's get this a little bit more in tune here, shall we? May have to change the strings on this Huss and Dalton. So we have this, I'm starting out with my thumb, and my index finger comes in and grabs the other A note, and then I come down and I pinch the 4th string and the open 1st string, and now my middle finger's grabbing the 1st string. So we have this. And now I go over to my E chord. I'm going to do the same pattern. Thumb, index, and then a pinch. 6th string, 3rd string, pinch the 4th and the 1st. So we have this. Now we're going to repeat that in the second measure. Now in the third measure, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So let's take a look at this one. We have the bass, and then we're grabbing the 5th, the 3rd string and the 1st string together. A low E note, and then we're going to be moving up chromatically, eventually up to a G note. Now with this one, you could alternate your 1st and 2nd fingers. Sometimes I do that. Or sometimes I may use my thumb and my index finger like that. So it's really up to you as to how you want to grab that. You could use just one finger, but when you start playing faster, that could be a little bit of a problem. So you have to kind of work that out. So anyway, we have this. Now I'm leading into the next measure. We're going to be leading right into that. Okay, Howard, it says it's okay now. That's good. Hey, Warren from Arkansas. And we got Michael, just a black screen, no picture, video, or sound, but you're seeing my comment. That's strange. I am seeing your comment. And maybe we get something coming in here. Anyway, so we have this, the third and fourth measure is going to sound like this. Now, I get that G, open E, C, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger here and come down into a C7 chord. So I'm going to form it like that. So that's the whole first line. Now we're going to be going into our F chord, and the way I play the F chord is I have my my first finger on the C, my second finger on the A, my third finger on the F, and I'm going to grab this thing like a baseball bat and get the low F note with my thumb. I always tell people that's a common way for a lot of blues and country blues players, even some country players play that chord like that. So here's what this F chord is going to sound. So what I'm doing is I'm alternating between my sixth and my fourth string, and I'm going to be getting this index on the third string, put the pinky down on the second string, third fret, then pick it up again, just like that. Now right here, normally there's an F chord for two measures, but I'm going to play this little C lick. So that's that little C lick in there. What I'm doing is I've got my third finger on the F sharp and my pinky on the D sharp, and I'm playing those two notes together. Open first, again, C, A, G, C. All right, and then we do just a C chord, basic C chord pattern. Now I'm going to be leading into a G chord. So this is the next little lick. Open third string, A, B flat, and then as I come into that last, the next line, I'm hitting my G chord by just basically forming it like this, getting that low sixth string, and then I have the open second string. Then I get the G, G7. And I'm alternating the bass now between the sixth and the fourth string. So going into from the preceding measure and leading into the G, we have this. And then we do that little lick again. Finally, little turnaround. So that little turnaround is just a bass. Then I'm going to hit the E and the G on the second string and fourth string. Move that back. Move that back again. And then finally the C, just part of a C chord. And then a little bass run leading up to the G. Just like that. So that last line. All right, so that we got which guitar is lying on the brown sulfur behind you? Over there, right? That is a guitar that's on loan to me. It looks like a really old guitar, but it's not. It's a Washburn 125th anniversary parlor guitar that I've been playing with. And I'm going to use that in tonight's concert, actually. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch. That's Madam X Wing in Seattle. Andreas is here. I'm glad to see you here. Andreas is out in Germany. So anyway, that's the basic progression of Hesitation Blues. There's a lot of other things that we have, and I want to thank Andres for his donation. Thank you, Andres, and I'll be shooting out some stuff to you later on. So anyway, that's the basic progression. It's going from an A minor to an E, A minor to an E, A minor to an E 3 times, and the A minor to C7. So I'm going to be showing you variations on that. When we analyze this further, we have an F chord, and even though the F chord is only being played for 1 measure, technically the F chord takes up 2 measures. We just threw in another little lick in there. Then we go to a C chord for 2 measures. Finally, we go to a G chord for 2 measures, and then we wind up at our C chord for a measure, leading into the G, like a little turnaround. So as that's the basic structure of the song, I want to be able to now give you variations on all the different things that you can do with this song. And that's what I'm going to be doing right here. That's going to be the next 2 pages in your tablature. And that is, let me just zoom this in so I could see it a little bit better. So yeah, let's take a look at this next section here. We have this next little section. Let me bring this out a little bit better. So if you're looking at variations for Hesitation Blues, you're going to see basically what you have is you have these examples of going back and forth. You can see that first line, A minor E, A minor E, A minor E, A minor C7. That's an idea that you can put in instead of just playing it the other way. And here I'll play this straight through. Here we're just going to be dealing with some hammer-ons. So here we're doing that same basic bass pattern with the 5th string and the 4th string, and then the 6th string and the 4th string, but I'm just adding in a hammer-on. So I'm getting that, first my finger is hammering onto that open B string and creating a C note. Now I'm going to pick up that chord and hit the open G rather, and then come down and pinch the G sharp with the low E. So we have, then I hit the open E, and then the 4th string. So we have, now the next measure, just a slight little variation. Now look at that variation. We're actually starting the E chord on the upbeat. 1 and 2 end, right on that end, to end. That's where we're coming in with our E chord. And I'm doing that by using my index finger to hit that G sharp note. Now the 3rd measure is exactly like the 1st measure. And now here in the last measure, we're going from an A minor to a C7, and we're doing it like this. So we get that C and the A, hit the 3rd string, pick up your first finger, and then get right into that C7 with your pinky on the upbeat. And then at this point, you would go into your F chord. But this is just a variation, like I said, on playing that whole first line. So that's one way of playing it. Another way of playing it is, let's look at the next line in our tablature and notation. And here, what we're going to have is we're going to have basically another way of playing the hammer-ons, but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently here. So let's take a look at this, because our hammer-on is going to be in a different place. We start out with the A minor to the 5th and 1st and 2nd string, 3rd string, then pick up our 1st finger and hit the 4th and open 2nd. And right after you hit that, you're going to hit the open 3rd string. And as you come hammering down onto that G sharp note and forming your E chord, that's where your thumb is going to come down on the 6th string. So that takes a little practice to get the... You're going to want to go pick that note twice, but it doesn't have as much fluidity as if you're just hammering it on. So we have... And then the E and another E. Now the next measure is a little bit different. Here we're bringing in that open E string right there on the upbeat. Back to the A minor again. And now we're going to have something kind of different. We got this descending line, but we have an ascending line in the bass, and this is going to sound like this. So I have that same thing that we've been doing, but instead of just picking up the 2nd finger and playing a B note, we're going to add the B note also in the bass. Like that. And then come in and grab our B flat and our C to make the C7. So you got that. Like that. So that's another way of doing it. And the final way that I'm showing you is going to be using a bunch of chords. Just really kind of, we're going to be playing little pieces of our chords moving up the neck. Here we're going to be staying, every time we're hitting an A minor, we're going to be staying on the 5th string rather than alternating it. And when we go into our E7, we're going to stay on the 6th string rather than alternating it. So we have this. So let's take a look at this. We have a C note and an A note, and we're grabbing the 5th string. Now we're all going to grab all 3 strings. So I'm using my index finger on the 3rd and my middle finger on the 2nd. Another bass note. Now I'm going to move that up to the 3rd fret to get the D and the B, which is part of an E7 chord, and switch my bass to the 6th string. Now I'm going to move my 1st finger back and just get the C and the open E and come in with the bass on the 5th string. And then, so I have... Now here I'm hitting that open 1st string twice. I'm coming down with my pinky on the G, and it's leading into an E7 chord. Now that E7 chord is just like your D7, but moved up to your 3rd fret. So we have... I think I may have forgotten doing that in the example, but... Now we're going to get into what I like to call the full way of playing it. If you want to do the full way, I'm just grabbing the first, second, and third string at the 5th fret, the A, the E, and the C. And I'm grabbing it with all 3 of my fingers here. Now you could brush up with your first finger and that'll be just as fine. Usually when I'm playing this chord, I'll tend to put my 3rd finger down and get the whole A minor. And this is what I like to call the don't you dare play Stairway to Heaven chord. Don't do that. So we have that. And now this next chord is going to be the E7. Our first finger on the E, our pinky on the first string at the B, and our 3rd finger on the D note on the 3rd string. So we have that. Now this is also this E7 chord, just for so you know, I have my 2nd finger here on that. I could put my 2nd finger here on that on the G sharp note on the 4th string, and it's like that old Deep River. There's that Deep River Blues E7 chord, I like to call it, but this is just a little piece of it. And finally, we're going to go into a C chord, just barring the first finger across the first 4 strings at the 5th fret and getting your pinky up that, getting up to that to the 8th fret. So we have, now here I'm going to go back and forth with my thumb on the 4th and 3rd string, and as I do that, I'm going to bring my pinky down to the C, to the B, and to the B flat, ultimately forming a C7 chord. Okay, so here is the use of various different inversions, and that'll give you, it should open up some ideas for you to try and use various different inversions of the chords, find out different ways of playing these chords going up the neck. Matter of fact, this isn't on the tab, but we could do the A minor, and that little E7 we did here, well, we can play that with these 3 fingers and use our first finger on the 4th string on the E. So we get a little. Now I can go up to that. And I'm going A minor to E7, so I'm going to go to, here's a little A minor chord at the 8th fret. So we get the C, the A, and we have the E in there. And then we have an E7 right in here. It looks like an A7, but it's at the 9th fret. So we can do, and you can go backwards if you want. So it pays to really kind of know a lot of different inversions, on the guitar. It just kind of keeps things interesting. I know it keeps things interesting for me. So anyway, we got that. That's happening in there. So if you're still with me, folks, I hope you are. We're now going to go into various different things that you can do with the next 2 measures in the song, and that would be an F chord. Here, what we're going to be doing, again, we're going to be back in this form, but I'm also going to be doing something a little different. Instead of just playing that C and the A and maybe bringing in my pinky, I'm going to try and do something like that. So I'm getting that 6th string and the 4th string in my bass, but here I'm also going to be bringing in a little A flat note, an A, C, D, and getting the high F note in there. So I really have that chord formed like that. So we have this. Now there's where you have to kind of shift get the A flat in there, and then bring it into the A. Get that pinky, then pick the pinky up as you're hitting that high F note. So that's 2 measures of an F. And then eventually you get back to your C chord. But let's continue on with a bunch of other variations of this F chord. We got, we have a whole bunch more, so let's do that. And Christian, thank you so much for your donation. I do appreciate that, and I'll be sending you some cool stuff. And David, thank you so much for your donation. It all helps, trust me. It really does. I'm very grateful. So now let's take a look now at this next 2. This is at the bottom of your tablature, and we're working now with the F chord again, but we're going to do a little hammer on from that A flat to the A. So that takes maybe a little bit practice getting that whole chord in, and what I tend to do here is if I know I'm going to be doing that ahead of time, instead of just barring 2 strings, I'm going to have 3 strings barred and then let my other fingers come in because I know I want to do little extra things with that A flat note. Hammer. So you get that. Then pinky, pick it up. So that's... another couple of measures of an F chord that you can do. Got to get about 4 more examples of an F chord. I actually had a lesson out, I think last week, about all these different things you could do with an F chord. So that's kind of a cool thing. Anyway, here's the next one. This is at the top of your next page. Here we're going to be doing hammer-ons from the C to the D and from the A flat to the A. Just like that. So we have so that's a couple of measures of an F chord. You see how it just kind of fits right in there. Now let's do a little bit more with the hammer-on from the C to the D, and at this point we're going to have a little bit of syncopation. And I think, if memory serves me right, that's kind of wild. I hitchhiked across the country, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the 1974 through 1978. And on one of those trips, I was on the side, me and my friend Tony, my traveling buddy, we were on the side of the supermarket. And we were eating what was left over of what we were eating in the supermarket. Let's not get into that, but there's ways of surviving when you're hitchhiking on the road for 3 months. So at any rate, I'm on the side of that supermarket and I see this fiddle player. I had my guitar case there, and this fiddle player walking by, and he takes out his fiddle and says, "Let's play." And I said, "Fine, yeah, let's do some stuff." We were playing a whole bunch of different things, and then he asked me to try out my guitar. And I said, "Sure." And he did this with the G chord. And I think the song he was doing was "Stay Down to Earth with Me" by Hank Williams. And anyway, so I didn't know you could do that at the time. I think I was just playing, I don't know, I was doing some other thing. So anyway, I just used that. A little aside. So I spent a lot of time doing crazy stuff. Howard, the donation link. Okay, if you're looking for the donation link, it's right above my head in the video. It says, "I'm giving away lessons for your donations. Here's the link," and the donation link is right there. So all you have to do is click on that, It'll open up another window and you'll see the donation link. So I hope that cleared that up. Hope that you got that, Howard. Anyway, so let's go to the last two examples of an F chord, and here we're going to be playing single lines. And then that comes like right out of, I think, Blind Lemon Jefferson stuff. So let's take a look at this one. Now, a lot of this I'm doing with my thumb on the downstroke and my index finger coming in on the upstroke. So when you hear this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's what's going on here, unless I'm doing a pull off, and then I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting my finger pull off the note. So watch it slowly. F, C, open D, back to the C. There's the first part of the lick. Then the next part is I'm going to pull off from the E flat to the D, then the C, and then the A. So, and then the next lick is I'm going to moving my first finger from the F to the E flat. And then, so there's a bunch of little notes to memorize in there. But that little sequence of notes will fit in perfectly with an F chord. It just works that way. And now let's take a look at the last example of an F chord. And this is really just a lick that I like to play. Get that last little note in there. Listen to that again. So let's take a look at that one. I start off with an F, the A flat, A, C. Now basically that's spelling out an F chord. And that's important to know, to basically spell out the chords with single lines. It's kind of like an arpeggio, but not direct. Now I'm going to go from I'm going to get my E flat in there. I'm going to go to the D, hit that and pull it off to a C. And then A. So that the first sequence of notes. And then. Now this next little lick in the last measure there. Here I'm going to be bending up that D note. And people ask me, well, you must be crazy bending strings on an acoustic guitar. And yes, I am pretty crazy bending things, but there's a method to this. On an acoustic guitar, as you know, unlike an electric, the strings are a little heavier gauge. I'm using light gauge strings, but still, that's a 16 I'm bending, and I'm close to that nut, so there's a little tension there. What I do is I'm going to take not just one finger, I mean that's tough. I'm going to take two fingers on the same string, and I'm going to grab that over here, that with my thumb over here, so I really have a good purchase on that neck. And now by pushing that up, now I'm not pushing it up like, I'm not pushing it up to here. I'm just pushing it up to that E flat. Then down and C, just like that. All right, so that, you know, that's a way that you can, you know, it just flows right into a C chord. That's basically how you bend. Rob, yeah, you use this part as your morning warm up. Great. I'm glad. I'm glad if you can, utilize some of these things. Put that in your warm up too. It's a lot of fun. I just like improvising a whole lot. So anyway, so that's the things you could do with an F chord. Finally, we're going to take a look. Well, not finally yet. Now we have the C chord, and the C chord comes in after the F chord for 2 measures. So here's some ideas that you can put into those 2 measures. I give you 1, 2, 3, 4 examples of what you can do here with a C chord. So let's take a look at the very first one. These are called C chord licks. And if on your tab on the second page, we're in the 3rd system down, and we have this. Cool little lick. I have a lot of fun. I just entertain myself, and I love sharing this stuff. But playing puts a smile on my face. So here we go. All right, I start off with a G. I get to the F sharp, and I pull it off to the F. So I have. Now I'm going to take my either pinky or 3rd finger. I'm going to get the E flat note, and then hit the open E. So I have to the C, A, G. Now, you notice that these are not straight eighths. Okay, straight eighths would just be 2 straight. These are swing eighths. Hear the difference? Da, 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 da. It's like listening to the song Onward Christian Soldiers, Onward Christian, and then going to a Baptist church where they're really flying, okay? This has swing eighths, it swings. So when you're playing these single lines, you want the things to swing. You don't want to play it as straight. My apologies to anybody that's of the Lutheran, Protestant, Episcopalian, Methodist persuasion, but Onward Christian Soldiers, Onward Christian, you really want to swing this stuff. Okay, look, the coffee's really strong, so I'm flying here. All right, so anyway, let's take a look at the next measure. So again, we're getting that little bend, and these bends really, the idea of a little half step bend and a little vibrato. This comes from Lonnie Johnson. He did a lot of that stuff. Who influenced T-Bone Walker, and Robert Johnson. So Lonnie Johnson was a really cool guitar player, and that little half bend. So altogether, this 2 measure thing comes in like this. Oh, I'm sorry. What did I do? I actually, nobody corrected me on this one. You guys got to follow it, okay? I actually went from 1 measure of 1 line down to the next measure of another line. Let's try this again. That's the lick. So C, A, E flat, hammer to the E, finally the C. So. See how that just kind of flows? All right, so that's one example. Let's look at the other example here. We had some more donations coming in. Thanks so much, Sue. I really do appreciate that. And we had a donation, a really nice donation. All right, Rob Rolls donated a big $50. You know what he gets for $50? He gets a year's worth, a year's access to every guitar lesson I've ever put out. That's videos, tabs, and there's other stuff, concerts, and so thank you, Rob. So I'm going to send you the membership stuff soon. after we get done with this. So I'll send you a password. I'll send you a thing. You put in you create a password, and you're in. And then you have access to all kinds of guitar lessons for a whole year. So thank you. That normally goes subscription-wise $125, but here we get that special price. Thanks. So, okay, I'm sorry. Let's go on to the next. Like I said, the coffee is strong. Let's go on to the next two measures here. That's a cool little lick. So let's take a look at that. Now I get down on that F and the D. I strike those two and slide, and then hit the open third and first string. So we have C, A, G. That's the first measure. Then we do the F and the D again, slide it, open first and third, C and E. So we have that all together. That's a cool little thing. Now we get into there's the little Lonnie Johnson thing. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, thanks, Warren. Yeah, it is a great deal. Okay, so I start this lick off in the third position. I've got my first finger on the first string at the third fret. I'm going to hit that. Add my third finger to the A. Pull it off. Now I get that E flat note. Open E. C, A, G. And then there's that little Lonnie Johnson lick. Okay, so let's look at our last one. And this is like one of my favorite ones. I really like this one a lot. Stole that right from Reverend Gary Davis. So let's take a look. We start this one off on our first string with our third finger at the third fret. And it's just a grace note, that G, because I'm going to slide right up to the A. Like that. Then G. Then come over the second string, go to the third string, and get the C note. So we have then E flat, E, C, A, G. Now I'm going to use my second finger to get to this low G note. So I have this G, hit the open third string on the upbeat. Now when your second finger's there, add in your pinky and your third finger on the D and the F. Right there, that's a G7 chord. And then finally back to our C. So we have this. And that's kind of nice, because we're not staying on a C chord the whole time or a C lick the whole time. We're actually going C and then a G7 and then back to the C. A little 5-to-1 thing there. So that's kind of cool to do that. All right, let's take a look now. These are the G chord licks. And again, folks, before we wrap this whole thing up, again, you know, I appreciate any donations. I see them coming in, and I like to thank everybody that does that. But I give you stuff back. I will send you stuff back for either a $15 or a $25. And the big one, the big kahuna, is a $50 one. But that gets you a year's worth of guitar lessons, video instruction, all kinds of stuff. Plus, there's a lot of other stuff on there, too. So anyway, here's the next G chord lick. And then eventually it's going to go to a C note, because we have, remember, the G, in the last line of Hesitation Blues, we have 2 measures of a G chord. And after that, it goes back to the C. And that's where a turnaround comes in. So we have this. Then it eventually gets to a C note. So let's take a look at this one. The first 3 notes here are spelling out a G chord. G, B, D. Now I'm going to do a little chromatic run leading up to a G from the E, F, F sharp, G. Now I'm going to come right back in that other little lick that we did. And it eventually gets to a C note. You want to end it like that. But that's a nice little lick. Just like that. So we have a really nice little. That's one of my favorite G to C little things. I put that in when I was jamming before. Anyway, so here's our final little G chord idea that you can put in. And then eventually it goes to the C. So I'll give you how that'll fit in context. Okay, let's see. We got that. So there's a little thing that you can do against the G. And notice, you know, if you notice this or not, but I'll point it out to you. When I'm going to the 5 chord, or in this case the G chord, I'm not thinking key of C anymore. I'm thinking key of G. I'm thinking little licks that I could do in the key of G, and then eventually use some little manner of bringing it back to a C chord in time. So, you know, it could be. Boom. So in this case, I'm using that E flat to E coming into the C. To an F, back to the C, little lick, little G lick, back to C. So there I was just kind of improvising, but I think you may get the idea of how I'm thinking and how you could think. You know, playing little F things and playing little C licks and little G licks. And, you know, the way you get better at improvising is you develop or work on developing a vocabulary of you know, a compendium, a big treasure chest of licks. You know, listen to a lot of different people. Listen to the licks that they're playing. Learn some of them either by YouTube videos or records. Remember those? CDs, remember those? Any way you can listen to this stuff, take lessons, you know, get anything to start building up your vocabulary, and then practice these, you know, putting them in. It takes, if you've never improvised before, it takes a lot of memorization and rote playing, and it also takes an idea of when that next chord is coming in. And the only way you know that is by playing the song over and over again, so you get a feel of when that next chord is coming in and maybe put in an idea there. So none of this stuff happens overnight. I've been doing this stuff since Christ was a corporal. So again, there I go. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed it. Tonight at 7 p.m., I'm going to be using a couple of really the National Triolean right there. That one from 1930, and I'm going to be using that Washburn over there. I'm going to be playing just old blues too. Some Charlie Patton, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Blind Boy Fuller. Just some old stuff. I may even do some Bucka White. So that's going to be at 7 p.m. tonight, right here, Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank you all for coming down. And again, if you can donate anything, that would really help me a whole lot. Anyway, folks, I hope to see some of you tonight. Every Thursday I do this at 3 p.m. and then at 7 p.m. a concert. So if you can, right here on my Facebook channel, and the lesson stays right here. All right, so I just leave it on the YouTube I leave it on the Facebook channel, but I also take it and I download the videos and I try and get them up on the Premier membership site and my Patreon site. And check those out too; they're kind of cool. All right, folks, take care. I want to thank you very much for coming. Sue, you're very welcome. Warren, you're very welcome. Mike Schaefer, it's always great to see you. Thanks again, folks, and I'll be seeing you again soon. So take care, and let's see how we end this. Oh yeah, there's the little red square. There's the red square. All right, take care, folks.